The racetrack. Love seeing that. There's Mark Hunt in the Ford Custom Liner. Of course, looked after by Summit Racing. He's down there in the bullet racing there, and there's a Dragsters up on the big screen, folks. Take a look at that. What a beautiful piece of machinery in this Hudson. That is what he's bowled here in Adelaide, and I couldn't see the guy coming up. Sean Burke on the other hand, here he's on the screen. This guy here, he's good wrestling, he's behind the driver. See down here. He can drive, and the pressure. He's got a good team with him. In fact, we go back to, of course, I apologize. .8 supercharged outlaws out there, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to be having some track preparation coming up shortly out here. In fact, definitely as I speak right now, you can see over the far side lane, the Bullet Race Engineering lane, putting down some traction compound and obviously getting in preparation for, let's take a look, first round of testing for top fuel and nitro funny cars out here at the racetrack. And looking good, and also top door slammer. Well, I tell you what, with the crowd we got out here, I don't know. Let's have a look here, Paris. Let's see if any of these folks have got any lungs here today. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, do you want to see some top fuel racing? Can't hear anything. You better make some more noise. Do you want to go top fuel racing qualifying?
Yes.
Getting a little bit better, but not too much out there, is there? But look, folks, we won't be too far away, as I said. Tractors are getting out there now to obviously get everything prepared out there. And we won't be too far, as I said, once again. Yes, Paris?
Plenty going on for the crowd. Don't forget, Michael, there's lots of stuff going on as we look around the track today. Lawnmower racing happening over the back there. That should be pretty interesting. Of course, 12 noon that started, so just a little while ago. But then they got another round at 3 p.m, so that's be their second round of the day. And they'll conclude at 6 p.m. with their third and final round. Lawnmower racing in the activation zone, that's over to the eastern side of the track, so we'll wait to see what's going to happen over there. But right now on the track, it looks like we're doing a little bit of prep, and we'll get this track cherry ripe, as they say in the classics, and get this going again. As also down there on the burnout pad, Michael, you can see a couple of the burnout cars on display, and also a tractor from the tractor pool. Those things are pretty interesting to watch, the old tractor pools.
Oh yeah, they're all coming out up to the bender in the future.
Very good conditions. Pretty much still out there as well. There was a little bit of wind earlier on today, but right now it is very still out there. So all things being equal, this is a great way to just test the waters for these top fuel cars.
I see Nathan Prendergast down there filming Facebook Live for us on the NDRC Facebook page. They're about to fire up. You can see Bruce Reed has his hands on his hips. It's his younger brother Phil inside the car. Mad Dog, the guy with that ferocious mullet, off to the left. And we are about to fire Phil, a cool socket to breast cancer initiative that they're doing too with Snap-on. We'll talk about that later on in the process. Hydralink, great supporting partners of Jim Reed Racing. And of course, if you wondered, Jim Reed, yep, he is the dad of Bruce and Phil Reed, an icon of the sport with well over 15 Australian championships, and a guy that achieved that in funny car as well, Top Fuel and funny car. So Jim, he's not here this weekend, but I know he'll be tuned in tomorrow, Rusty.
Absolutely. You talk about a legacy family in drag racing, and that's one right there. And it's great to see them back out here on this, well, I still call it the newest track in Australia. It is such a cool place to come when you roll through the gate. It's no expense has been spared. It gives me goosebumps just to see exactly what drag racing can be and what kind of a venue you can have. You guys are so lucky here in South Australia. Love coming down here, and we're looking to put on a good show for you this weekend.
It's the Taj Mahal of Top Fuel, Rusty. You can see the roller coaster rides off to the right-hand side. Those kids, what they're doing is meh when you compare to what we're about to do with 11,000 horsepower. And Santino Raposada and Junior, the two brothers that are the car chiefs, as well as pretty well everything else involved in that Raposada team. Oh, look at that for a shot. Newbie rolling in, literally cooler than Tom Cruise in Maverick.
Iceman.
That is the only canopy car that we have in Top Fuel Racing. Everybody else kind of uses the convertible. The sunroof is out, but Noobs, who came so close to winning this championship last year, his teammate Damien Harris was able to go back-to-back with the Australian Top Fuel Championship. They put down the cockpit right now for Noobs and give him a little bit of cool air. What a character this bloke is, mate.
He is a laugh and a half. If you get him, well, even at the racetrack, I was going to say, if you get him away from the racetrack, he's even funny. But here at the racetrack, he's not a guy who gets too serious too often, but once he straps into these cars, the smile tends to go away and he gets the race face on, the really intense eyes. And he is a multi-time Australian champion in his own right, both in Top Fuel and also in Top Alcohol. Very, very experienced racer, and I think he'll be looking to maybe avenge a little bit over what happened last season. He'd love to go one better than he did last year.
We're not going to see 500 kilometres per hour in this pass, I wouldn't think, but we would well and truly, because we did actually have the fastest ET and quickest ET ever set at this very place, and it was Damien Harris who did that. This team, they put so much into it. Every Top Fuel team, every funny car team, every door slammer team, every Aeroflow Sportsman Series team, they just invest thousands and thousands of dollars and thousands of men and women hours into this game. And there is Bruce Reed looking across towards the Raposada team to say, are you good? They wait for each other. They give each other the eye and they say, yep, I'm good if you are, because you don't want to burn down anybody. As we said before, they carry weight in this car that transfers when you burn more of that nitro and feel off.
There is very much an agreement between all the teams in terms of when you fire up the cars, when you put the cars into stage, go through the burnout process. Every team has a slightly different process, but they try to get up to the start line at exactly the same time. The whole idea behind that is you want to be as consistent as possible. Fire in the pipe, and we're going to go racing with Top Fuel here at Dragway and this afternoon. Absolutely thinking about this decision. Phil Reed taking hold of Newbie and the here in the centre.
1:03.5 reaction for the current and back-to-back Australian Top Fuel champion. Reaction time is basically the time which we're looking in at the dash there to check what the idle is doing and just making sure that all the pressures sorted. Coughlin, we're going to have him here. He's really done. We'll give it a see. He's going to be a racing run over 3 years. Watching Chris White about to climb over the wall at the top is about to just climb over. This is the tallest wall we have in drag racing in Australia. And Kira's had carpal tunnel syndrome surgery. She's actually worried about how she was going to be able to grab her hand and climb up over the wall. So you can see how bad it comes down. It's very important for the women in this sport. Those rear tyres, and 06 light was handy.
Yeah.
They'll take something from that, and that was all that they'd really planned.
Absolutely, they will. The 60 foot there was identical to what we saw for Dave.
Phil is ready to get out when he's about 80.
Yeah.
Put your hands together, folks, for Wayne Newby as he comes back by you in that awesome cockpit chassis. Santos Cranes entry for Uplift Cranes and Atlantic Oils and Titan Cranes and the family here. Adam had speed with no luck at all last season. On your NITRO buddy cars. The Dragway and the bend, and it is just a beautiful day as Rusty preempted before. Morris McMillan to chase Justin Walker. Everybody out of Western Australia as he waves to everybody and heads back in the works equipment car. Good to have you back, Kyle, by the way. His mum and dad are over in Europe at the moment celebrating their 40th wedding anniversary, and Kyle's over here spending his inheritance.
Absolutely.
That's what you do.
Why not? Why not? I've got to say, big props to Adam Murray there. When a funny car goes up in smoke like that so quickly, you can see the chalk mark that's on the screen there. That shows that it hit the wheelie bar really hard. When it hits the wheelie bar like that, it actually lifts the rear of the car off the ground and unloads the tyres. That's why it spun the tyres so hard. But he did a great job of catching it. With these cars, because they have so much horsepower, they've got so much air going through the supercharger, when they spin the tyres like that and they unload the engine, quite often what you'll see is the supercharger come off the top of the engine because all that boost pressure builds up. The driver can't catch it quick enough. Adam caught it with that car and the best hot man in the business. Now he can run.
90 kilometres per hour. Please put your hands together for Justin Walsh. That's the quickest run we've had, apart from these 390 that we saw earlier on with news, but that's a solid start.
Absolutely.
Considering what you were saying about messing around was going on.
It seemed like it was taking a long time to get the car on stage. Now, I did see a little flash under the car as it went through the finish line down there, so I'm just, hopefully everything is okay. We're just waiting on the crew down there to get him off the racetrack, because it is very slightly uphill here at the bend, and that's all by design. It's about slowing the cars down as much as they can before they reach the turnout area down there. He's almost to the turnout, but still a 416. That's a really solid way to start the weekend, especially considering they've changed the whole clutch setup in that car as well.
Oh,
so,
can Nathan please get Andy Lopez's tech explanation as to what happened on that run? Because Andy, that was phenomenal the way before you. Again, with that salute. Think about it, it's super cool to have two guys back this year, Matt Abel and Peter Kapiris. Now, both of them had, well, injuries to themselves, but also with Matt Abel's case to the car itself. So Peter Kapiris, he ran the opener here, was impressive, said that South Australia was his favourite state, even though he's from Victoria. And then that was the only time we saw him in the championship, because he crashed his dirt bike, out riding a dirt bike at 60 years of age by himself, and got wrecked, broke his leg in 3 places and his ankle. We never saw him again after that.
take home the championship this season.
Now, I noticed a bloke walking down the track. Lisa's husband. If anybody's wondering how you remember Daniel Gregorini, he is Lisa Gregorini's husband. You're right, mate. They ran this car as a pro mod.
Yeah, twin turbo.
It's always been a turbo deal to them with a screw blower, and now he's excited about top Dorsland.
The really cool thing about it is the people that he's got around him. So the entire Moines racing crew and the Moines motorcars crew, I think what he does about this weekend, they did a good job to the screw line combination. If you don't know who the Moines guys are, they're the guys who came down and ran 2 seasons in Dorsland and won 2 championships. They beat the best that there is to beat and went with it. We're out to finish. It was a damn good performance, and you've got Skip working on all the guys who are Moines down there helping him out this weekend. So this car is going to be quick, let me tell you.
It's a 70.5. Not a 70, it's not a 71. It's a 70.5. Daniel Gregorini. The guy was super quick. He won the NITRO GSL. Be it with a beautiful up against Russell. Program to scratch and match. Consolidated group. Injury right there. Hashtag young one. Maybe not so much anymore. His 40th birthday party last year or earlier this year. Callahan, welcome to the big game. Great to have him here from the ACT. Philip in the ACT. That's where his wife is from. He's from Jervis Bay. He moved up to Canada for love. That's what you do. I want some love and love. Let's have a look. This is through the middle, but he'll take a 574. That's tasty.
Yeah.
And Jeremy certainly had his hands full in that left-hand lane. And you can see Stu Rowland just walking around in front of the shot just then. Jeremy has his 3 kids here. Charlie, also... will be about developing his car today. I don't think that over the weekend, I think if Andrew is smart at 58 years of age, you have to think you've got most of the testosterone out of the way, that Andrew will continue to learn this car with that new combination, kind of getting it off the line. I think he will be a learned situation this weekend. To Sony, with the new shock settings and trying to get his head around what they're doing, I think he'll have under it.
I don't think that burnout will give him a lot of confidence. He's not a guy who lives, but Andrew, so I think you're right. This isn't going to be an evolution of what he already knows. It's just going to be going from point to point. the tyres up and kicked over towards the wall. I think you had a moment there as well, Wade.
So he's waving. What a great character. Let's see if he can beat. Let me rephrase that. Let's see if you can be quicker than your wife this weekend. I don't want to say beat. That implies something completely left of centre. Callahan coming back in that sweet entry. I know.
Every single thing that you can measure on this car is being measured, and everything is done for a reason. Stuart Rowland is one of the sharpest minds in the game when it comes to getting that thing
Whoa, 569 with a 9. Russell Taylor, the defending champ, saying, remember me, 412 kilometres per hour up against a 596 for Lisa Gregorini. Come on, Taylor and Ben, put your hands together for here. And Ronnie Palumbo with a man alongside him at the Bernardo, mate.
Absolutely, and Ronnie's licking his chops this season. He says, you know what, we're all starting from there, and we nearly got the job done last season, and we went away as well into the season, so he's looking to redeem to a certain extent himself here and there.
Ronnie there is on the radio with Morris Fabietti, the team owner. Pat Carboni's burnout was stout. And Ronnie, who has certainly done his time in drag racing, prior to being given this opportunity to drive the Morris and Eric Fabietti AC Delco Slammer. Get around their socials. This team do a great job, and Ronnie's all about the Snapchats and the threads and all the cool stuff, the reels. Great job with it to Ronnie. This car built a heritage in 2006. When you think down the drag, it's the Monaro, people get a bit emotional.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's completely understandable. But as you mentioned, Ronnie Palumbo is one of the youngest guys in the field. He's only 32 years of age. He did a great job in his rookie year last year. He's driven just about every type of race car that you can think of in drag racing. So he comes in with plenty of experience under his belt. And this season, he can't blame anything on rookie mistakes anymore. He's got that under his belt. Now it's about going out and making a name for himself now that he is an established competitor in this All Slammer category.
For a while, he might be young. His car owner's 112, so he will balance himself out. Pat Carboni in the Camaro, the Dragway drag racing entry back by Carboni crashes. Rolls and wire. Good job from Carboni as well. 574 with a 3. That'll work.
Now.
And yes, it was Monique Ambriosi with those perfectly manicured nails crossed behind her back just then. And Morris just there. Fabs gives the thumbs up. Not a bad way to kick things off.
Badger's going to be happy when I tell him this because it was slow to the 60, 102 to the 60 foot timers, but
At all to get that thing down the racetrack to this season. Here is a dirt bike accident. It's got the affable Jeff Cutterjar. And poor Jason Hamilton can step away from the car there as well.
that's part of the fun of drag racing, isn't it?
He's actually a pretty handy cook as well. I don't know if you know that, but he makes a mean tea and ham soup. Last night the Northman had a bit of a hospitality function. You guys are doing it. They put him a huge big spread, and Matty Abel was the man in charge of the throwing tent. Done a great job. His son Hayden, very much a very big program as well. This car was basically on the front part off. They had to completely rebuild and recreate that car from how many. Come on down the track, put your hands together for Madison Sony as he goes by you in a gorgeous red entry. And that
was absolutely frightening. From a driver's perspective, when you're sitting in the car, you know you're hurting, and the car is on fire as well. It was absolutely crying out down there at Sydney Dragway. So hopefully he's got those demons there, he's got those mental hurdles that you have to get over as a race car driver. And he'll be looking to just pull one from A to B here at the Dragway. And the other lane, though, PK stage up, he's ready to race down there. He's got plenty of experience. He's a multi-time Australian champion in this category. Done everything there is to do in drag racing.
Abel was trucking that
Yeah, he
thing.
was.
And we lifted towards the end, but a 6-7.
He's a guy who's done a lot of racing. He's racing Supercharged Outlaws, he's racing Pro Mod, and now he's made the ultimate step up into Top Door Slammer now, which in terms of Supercharged Alcohol cars, this is the peak for these types of cars.
And mind you, don't forget he started in 98 in Super Street, you know, the X-White Falcon. I mean, that's the sort of stuff that dreams are made of, mate. If you're going to start in Super Street, you've got to be an X-White Falcon. Moved on and stayed pretty well true to the Ford brand, and they have been struggling to get this car sorted. The 2016 stand goes going AIR. Put your hand together for Lisa Gregorini, and her team as they come back by him as well. You're on the cruising back. Now, Mick Marty is the winner of the game a while, and is brand new to learning this car. They have been doing some work there, just putting new converter in and getting the thing down into the soft recipe. Tested with a new dude recently, and I think it's leaving the line even harder, so then everyone gets sort of drivability to launch.
That's kind of an oxymoron sometimes. Drivability on the lawn, all you got to do is hold the pedal and mash it. Most of the moment it sticks sometimes, but drag racing is funny, man. A lot of the work before the car even gets on the racetrack, so way before the racetrack, in terms of setting the cars up and preparation.
45 years in the game, and you need to check the work on his Facebook page. It looks like he should have played second slip at the Ukraine cricket team. Had a power mustache rocking back in the day. There,
I'm just saying that November's coming up.
he just couldn't use the idea of living his hair. I think it was on the ejector hat, and that is what is his epic ET record. But I've got to say, they came awfully close to taking that down last year.
Yeah, it was close, absolutely. Some of the performances that we saw were just out of this world. Now, he would be sitting back in the staging lanes after seeing Russell Taylor go 569 in this session, and he'd be licking his chops at that because he knows that the racetrack is there. He knows that it can hold it. It's just a matter of making the tune-up and the setup in the car match the conditions that they've got. He has got so many runs on this car. It's not even funny. He's got so much data. He knows exactly what it takes to get down to any racetrack in the country. If you've ever got a guy who is up for the fight, it is John Zapier, and he's going to have a fight on his hands this season in Dorset.
Not many people go faster than John Zapier, except John Zapier when he's stroppy. His fiancée Robbie just backed him up just then. His nephew Brody is not far away from making his door slammer debut as well, so it's going to expand to to a two-car team. Noonan, Ultimate Race Engineering. That's a partnership that goes back a bit. This guy, an icon of the sport, over in his 6 decades of life, still one of the absolute megastars of Australian motorsport. What do you got for us, Zach? On his first look back, of course, he's won here before. What are you going to do for us in this perfect condition situation? That will exacerbate his frustration.
Yes.
Wowzers.
Yes.
We will hand you back to Paris and Michael here in a moment, and that was the end of Door Slammer. We'll see qualifying 1 and 2 to come from those guys. We'll see Nitro, Funny Car and Top Fuel a little bit later on today.
Okay, back to let's have a look at Group 3 style racing, ladies and gentlemen. Super Street Eliminator out here, and wow. 0.24 for Andrew Wake down there in the Summit Racing Lane. Good stuff. Second round of qualifying out here for Super Street Eliminator, proudly brought to us by Outlaw Speed Shop.
Yeah, that's right, Michael. Here we are in the second round of qualifying. This should be a good one as the sun passes overhead. And as we look into the Bullet Race Engineering lane now, Julian Semler from Loxton in South Australia bringing out the Holden VK Commodore. That's the 5 litre, and right across from him is Tex Griffith from New South Wales out there in the Plymouth Satellite, and that's got a 505 cubic inch. For Julian out of the blocks to a 0.35 for Tex. Tell you what, that's a good reaction time, and across the line, Tex getting the job done with to a 10.941 at 198.
Well, there it is for that Derek up there in the shot of qualifying out here for the Super Street Eliminator. Right, we move on now with the pairing out here. 2 South Australians. Tony Antonino coming out from Tranmere here in South Australia in a lovely early model S-Series Valiant, powered by a 392 small block Chrysler. Brian Keane from Mount Gambier running the Ford XR Falcon, 400 plus qualifying. Brian a 0.85, but we head down towards the Goodyear Racing finish line. 10.792 at 194.6 k's per hour for Tony. Brian Keane a 10.72, 201.48 k's per hour. There it is, Paris.
Next pairing now is the Spin the Smoke.
Absolutely, Michael Bridges, and on screen at the moment, Craig Warren from Reversby in New South Wales. Good looking little Tirana down there too. 400 cuber and running in Super Street Eliminator. And we go over, of course, to the Summit Racing Lane. Michael Bridges running that lovely Chrysler Centura. 265 Hemi-powered machine. Let's see if these guys can go in their qualifier. Rightio, both drivers, of course, we take a look at Bridges out here, looked after by Smart Road Auto Wreckers. And Bridges out there, quite a handsome guy that's done a lot of work in racing. Has done quite well over the years, also out here with Bridges. Good operator. Michael Bridges on 0.60 reaction time. Not bad effort, but Craig Warren, he has the faster car, the LJ Tirana. The finish line, 10.229, 11.04, 184.36 k's per hour. Good effort coming out from the young lad driving, of course, the Chrysler Centura.
Yeah, certainly was there. As we for our next guy coming out, I think it'll be Andrew Francis coming out now. Let's take a look at that in board the Holden FC. What a beautifully presented car that is too. Look at
the on screen there, Paris, with Andrew Farris up there into Andrew Francis, I should say, as you were saying, over Victoria, early model at 58 Holden FC wagon.
Got to say, I like
the moon eyes on board there. They have the shotgun scoop at the front there. Looks good.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I love the eyes off the.
0.33 reaction, sharp reaction time down there for Andrew Francis as he heads on down towards the Goodyear finish line once again at the ET He comes up at 10.47 with a 9 at 182.51 k's per hour. Good effort there for you, Andrew, and you've got to be consistent. That's the name of the game in Group 3 Dolly Road bracket racing.
Yeah, absolutely, and all the way from Lansfield, Victoria too.
Moving on now, the second round of qualifying with modified bike eliminator. This is also Group 3 from the Andra rulebook, and good to see these guys coming up. They run on a Dolly Road handicap system also, but qualifying today, we take a look at burnout area on board is Honda 600cc entry in D modified bike. We go over to the Bullets race engineering lane, and we see Cheryl and Mr. V-Rod Beddoes, and Cheryl, there she is on screen right now. What a girl, rides the Harley V-Rod Destroyer, beautiful bike. It's 1,370ccs of Harley and looked after by, would you believe it, Westpac. Well done, she needs all the money she can get.
That's a sensational corporate sponsor there, Westpac. I'm sure that she must visit the back on a regular basis. They'll give her her own armour guard truck, I'm sure. Westpac inspired. Okay, let's have a look now as these two get to the line. Cheryl is there, as is Darren McGregor aboard the Honda CBR.
Absolutely. Have a look at the stance on down there for young Cheryl. Have a look at the concentration. We go over to Darren McGregor. He's cool and calm, but I look at Cheryl. On the green side, but Cheryl's got more power down the drag strip. 9.450, 283 k's per hour.
Line. We're just waiting for the names to come up on the screen. Johnny Hog Island, gotta love the name there, and he's riding the Harley. He's in the Bullet Race Engineering lane number 1. Alongside him, Dean Jameson from Casterton, Victoria. And these two Victorians, couple of Victorians out there now. It's a battle of the states, and he's out there on a Suzuki Hayabusa. These things rocking along. Let's see if he can get the job done here, Michael, on this quarter mile.
Absolutely. Dean Jamison out here on board the Suzuki. He goes in 8.7. Good riding there from here, Johnny, and have seen you for a good time. But good to see you back here at the bend, enjoying yourself here this weekend. Right, we move on now for the next pairing coming our way. Sean Ricketts from Castle Hill in New South Wales. He's taken on the Summit Racing Lane on board a 1200cc Kawasaki down there. We go over to Matthew Yard from here in Taylor Bend, South Australia, on board his A modified bike entry. That one there, a 1350cc Kawasaki. That's the pairing. Onto the tarmac down there, onto the concrete, 9.257, 229.58 kilometres per hour. Matthew Yard goes at 9.984, 26.16 k's per hour. Good riding coming out down there from Yardy, and there loves the wheelies off the start line. Right, we move on now to the next pairing. Super Sedan coming up. Right out now, moving into ladies and gentlemen, and good to see this pairing coming up down here. First up, Chris Lulius, running in the Summit Racing Equipment lane, running that beautiful colour, the purple piglet we call that, the LH Tirana down there, and of course it's Joe Carboni running the Holden BK Calais. He's down there in the Bullet Race Engineering lane.
Let's have a look now as they get themselves together, staging lights on. With a 0.32 reaction to a 0.19 for Joe Carboni, and Carboni with a 9.9 at 220.
There's one for the guys up there. Chevy Taylor down here in the 62 92 Chevrolet bubble top, 540 cubes under the hood down there for Chevy. We go over to Robert Cardam, and Robert coming over from Noble Park here in that Victoria. Good to see Rob coming over in the lovely Ford XY Falcon Ute down here. 434 cubic inch engine looked after by Speedpro and of course RK Carpentry over at Dandy. Well done.
Yeah, so the Cardam Racing entry there sits beautifully waiting now. What a beautifully presented car that is too, the Ford Utility. Look at Robert Cardam. Gets away with a 0.76 and gets to the bottom with a 9.724 at 223 kilometres an hour. That is some good moving. And also don't forget Chevy Taylor's 10.8 at 210.
Yeah, no, great work coming out from both those drivers once again as another beautiful pair. This gorgeous afternoon sunlight out here at the bend at the Dragway. Hope you're enjoying yourselves out here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great day. Racing Lane, yeah, down here. He's the #1 Australian champion, and good to see you out here, lads. You're about to give a run against Sean Maher from Magneton over in New South Wales, the driver of the Holden HB Tirana. 414 cubic inch engine on board the little HB. But Lance Larkham, he's going to try for a second year of being the Australian champion. And at the moment, he's looking very, very sharp. So let's give an eye on Lance down here on screen. There's the Camaro close to you on screen. We go over to the far side, the little HB Holden Tirana. Both cars look magic on the screen down here once again also, Barry.
Certainly do, and there's always something special about having that #1 on the side. Just gives you a little bit of extra. There for Sean, and Sean got a entry with a 0.
Absolutely move on now. The next pairing coming up once again, and keeping an eye on that young Victor is down here in this beer. It is on screen now. Vic 350 is the number plate that says it all for K&A Racing, and Victor coming over from Birrongi in New South Wales. A 400 cuber to go over to Patrick Barron, who's now also on the screen, the Chevrolet Beretta. Beautiful car there, looked after by Aussie Dips. He's the guy on the screen looking good. Let's keep an eye on this pairing from Marsden in Queensland. 010 to Patrick. Still a very sharp 036 going to Victor. But we go to the Fuji Racing finish line. It's a 9.223. 243.07 k's per hour for Patrick. We go back to Victor at 9.94, 229.34 k's per hour.
Pretty proud of their efforts there, some good times. And we now turn our attention to the next pairing. We got Alex and Martin, of course, the bullet race lane of Alex there, and he's in the BA Ford Falcon. 424 cubic inch between the chassis rails there, and the yellow Ford looking nice under the sunlight. Martin Micro also there as well, and we'll see what he can with an 8.991 at 241 kilometres an hour. Martin gets the job done over Alex's 9.23 at 237.
Yeah, good qualifying run there for Martin Nurko, and that's good result, 0.04 reaction times. Same time, here we go. We've got another great pairing coming up here on the start line. Tony Miskelly, he's the guy driving the superb 95 model Ford Pro. It's on the screen now at the moment. 447 kids. Ace Edwards coming from Glendale up in Queensland. There he is there now on the screen with the 82 Pontiac Firebird. 468 cubes. Well done to these guys coming down to compete this weekend. Runs a 988 with a 222.58 kilometres per hour. Good run for both these drivers. Looking good out here, Barrett, this afternoon as we continue on with this eliminator as we speak. Super Sedan proudly brought to us by Bullet Race Engineering.
Yeah, certainly are looking good, Michael. The cars, the presentation of everything has been really, really on point this weekend. And here comes another car with an interesting paint design. And it's it's Colin Griffin, I beg your pardon. Gemini of Jason Wilson from Berwick, Victoria, and the Mount Ridley, Victoria also for Supergas just about to come on now. Of course, they got their index dial in. Reaction from Colin Griffin, outstanding to a 2.61 for Jason Wilson. And I'll tell you,
Colin Griffin too quick at 9.86 written in the red down there for you once again. 9.90. That's the trick, that's the trick in Supergas Eliminator.
Yeah, 0.06.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right, we've got the next pairing coming up, and Warren Bull from Journatown in Victoria, running with a lovely Chevrolet Camaro, 500 cubes under the hood. We go over to the guy from South Australia, Robert Bergman, and the Valiant there, Martop, 440 cube Chrysler for the Bergman Brothers Racing. No electronics whatsoever on the Chrysler. He just holds it flat out from the start line to the finish line. Have a look at the blue light down there on the Porter Tree timing system. That blue light indicates to the drivers no deep staging allowed in Supergas Eliminator. Whether it's in qualifying or eliminations, that Eliminator does not allow deep staging. Here we go. Waiting for the drivers to come in. Fully staged. Both of them are running off 10.06, 215 k's per hour for Rob, and a 10.03, 233.9. If the afternoon sunlight is maybe affecting, of course, the performance of those two entries. It could be out there, Paris, hard to say.
Yeah, very strong chance in that, there's no doubt, as Des Wollstonecroft now comes in from Warrnambool, Victoria, and he's out there in the VR Commodore.
In the Holden VR Commodore. Des is normally pretty sharp, aiming for a 9.90, and it goes 9.967, 223.82 km per hour. Good effort there, Des, in the 9.9 zone. Well done in Supergas. You've done incredible. What fits the performance of boxes. Okay, moving on now, let's take a look what's coming our way. This would have to be a junior bike. Okay, the second round of qualifying for junior bike. The youngsters out here, Paris, this is good to see too. And
they're getting the job done on half of the amount of wheels as the cars, but nevertheless, these kids, mate, they're certainly showing how to get it done on the bikes as they come into the staging area now. Lillian Hagen is from Monto, Queensland, and she'll be coming out in the Bullet Race Engineering lane number 1. Across is Marcus with an 8 to Marcus, a 0.243. Let's have a look and see what happens down the bottom. An 8.73 for Lillian with 123 km/h to Marcus, an 11.5 at 88 km.
Young Lucas Bergman, and we're going to find out now. On that screen, wide open, young lads, and when you talk to them, you are amazed when they take their helmet off. Like, wow, what a youngster behind on that bike as he goes over the finish line. But Lucas, a 9.515 at 119.11 k's per hour. Good effort coming out with a 0.41 reaction. Lucas, you're not bad at all. Have a look at that out on screen now. This youngster going from one side to the other. Wow, I love that technique out here. It looks really, really sharp out here, Paris.
Certainly does, Michael, as we watch now for Lawrence Rochella and Jaden Schofield to come in, of course running the Bullet and Summit lanes respectively. But from Hillier, South Australia, it is Lawrence Rochella, and Gladstone, all the way from Gladstone, Queensland, Jaden Schofield coming up on the Kawasaki Ninja. They're fully staged now, we're about to let it go. Here we go, twister, throttle wide open, and put that front wheel on the ground if you can, because we're getting away. And Lawrence with a 0.355 reaction to a 0.79 for Jaden now. That's a good time. And as they come to the bottom, an 8.72 for Jaden with 124 kilometres an hour, and then we got a 9.3 at 118 for Lawrence Rochella.
Well, there's the ETs, and what a great shot of the deep end of the racetrack as the youngsters are coming down off the runoff area. We're about to move on now, I'd imagine, to maybe Junior Dragster. We'll keep an eye on things with that one there, from Junior Bike to Junior Dragster. Absolutely, Junior Dragster brought to you by the South Australian Tourism Commission here this weekend, and that was just on screen just previously. Well done, and good to see those guys supporting the juniors out here for the weekend. Nixon Cannoli is down here in the Summit Racing Lane. Good to see young Nixon down here, and from Hope Island in Queensland. He rides a little, drives a little Mike Boss Dragster. And we go over to Cooper Plummer from Campbelltown here in South Australia, on board the half-scale Dragster. Running 490 cc's of outlaw engine, but there he is now coming in towards the black box burnout area, and puts the rear tyres just through it now. Let's have a look and see if Cooper's going to give us a bit of a wheelie. And of course, Craig Palmer, his father out there, just giving it a quick final tune with the carburetor. Do remember, folks, these juniors are out here fuel. They don't run on the petrol that you buy from your local petrol station. They're alcohol branding little machines out there, and great to see them out there having a shot.
Yeah, 100%. Great to see the kids out here having a good. Cooper Plummer, South Aussie kid with a lot of passion for the game, and he's out there in the now coming up against Nixon all the way from Hope Island, Queensland. They've come here a long way, and he's got some great support from Atlas Batteries. Okay, so it looks like both of them now starting to come onto the line. You can see their parents and or guardians just helping them out there, getting them.
Qualifying spot for the previous qualifying round one. Nixon Cannoli is in a second qualifying position at the moment. So let's keep an eye on this. And Cooper Plummer running an 8.0 for the A Junior Dragster, as is Nixon. So this could change right here and now straight after this run with their qualifying positions out here. As Cooper's fully in on the tree, so is also young 8.02 and an 8.029. So wow, they're not going to change positions because 8.021 is still quicker than the 8.029. So Nixon Cannoli, you are switched on down there, and Cooper Plummer also. But John Cannoli, John, how are you, John? You're down there. That's your lad. You can't hear me at the moment, but good to see young Nixon down there doing very well for themselves. As we're about to move on now with Lachlan Walker and also Vance Perino.
Yeah, that's right. Vance coming all the way from Jacobs Well in Queensland, and Lockie Walker just down the road, Nuripta, South Australia, a beautiful place in the world, Michael. We touched upon earlier there in the Barossa Valley, great wine region and a great place for a getaway. Enough of that right now, because all we're worried about is this quarter mile of river lake we see before us right now, and there's no vineyards and wine tasting as we go down there today. But nevertheless, it's going to be Vance versus Lachlan, and Lachlan's got some good support from Glow Heating, Cooling and Electrical and DreamWorks Garage.
Absolutely, as they have a west, they're going across the racetrack, not too strong at all, and someone's having a joyride up there in that lovely valley, just going over the Dragway right now as we speak. Of course, all the show rides will be happening for the afternoon. The lawnmower racing out at 3 p.m. What's the time right now? It's happening right now for the second round of lawnmower racing over on the eastern side, over past the Mound, and they have another shot again tonight at 6 p.m. So that's also happening over the far side as we go back here and get some junior dragsters coming out onto the racetrack. So let's keep an eye on these juniors coming out. And we can see Vance Perino and also Lachlan Walker up the two drivers. Lachlan from Nuripta, as you're saying, Mike Boss Dragster.
Yeah, of course, Vance all the way from Jacobs Well, Queensland. But he's got some great support to rock and roll. These are the A Junior Dragsters, B Junior Dragsters, I beg your pardon, for vans, whereas it's an A Junior Dragster for Lachlan. So what that means essentially, race fans, is that Lachlan will be trying to get an 8-second pass and Dan an 8.6.
Well, there is no comparison. There's a shot there on the big screen here between juniors and Steve Walker, also closest to screen, puts in Lachlan Walker into our stage. We look at the quarter tree system and free stage for both these little drivers. Right out now, the 540 stage, they're ready for their green. A 1:08 reaction. ETs though, have a look at that for Vans, 8.68 on an 8.60 for the B Junior Dragsters. Lachlan went 8.05, also very, very good. So those guys are very close to their 8.00. They'll be up there in the qualified. Good work.
Yeah, they'll definitely be happy with that. As we just went now, I think Zane and Tyler are going to be the next two in. We'll just wait for confirmation on that. All the way from Albion Park Rail, New South Wales, is Zane Pindello. And he's coming out in the half-scale dragster, thanks to Line Motorsport. He's in the Bullet Race Engineering lane number 1, right alongside him, Michael, is Tyler Jarvis coming out in the Strike Force dragster, thanks to Creative Patios. And they're all the way from Pinjarra, Western Australia. So I'll tell you, that cross and the data for that is quite a hike that one. Certainly is. What an effort all the way from WA and Queensland, Western Australia. They've come from everywhere to be here, and that's just going to show the dedication and passion from these families to get their kids to the line.
Absolutely. This weekend once again, as they try and get the these guys. The same job down here, the ball lane, and gets himself organised for this next qualifier. As is, of course, Tyler Jarvis stays the same from Pinjarra, Western Australia. So we'll keep an eye on this pairing down here now. On square at the moment, we've got both in there. What a very, very colourful dragster, little 8 junior dragster down here coming out for Tyler Jarvis. Beautiful creation. I thought we're going to give us something that we all got around, I'm pretty sure.
Certainly looks good done with the incredible roll presentation. Absolutely. I'm sure the photographers down there have been getting some killer shots all day long.
Oh, definitely. Just going to go to the quarter tree top down there. And one more to be put in stage, and that is the bullet lane. They've got to move into the bullet lane. So 53rd of the gas. Click on that thing. Very, very light. There we go. The tree. A Junior Dragster 8.03 for Zane, not a bad number at 100.
Statewide oil, glass protection, associated Comtread tyres. And in lane 2, as we look across, it'll be Kenny Stewart also coming out there in the Summit Racing lane.
Absolutely, Kenny Stewart from Parna in Victoria. Kenny Stewart, an ex-Australian champion. Simon Barlow is the champion at the moment for Modified Eliminator. You'll see him come out a bit later on in qualifying, but Kenny Stewart's been there. He knows what it's like. That number 1 on that big long dragster. He'd love to get that back. This is the Aeroflow Sportsman Championships here this weekend. Corey Dyson, not a bad driver too, in the Mullers dragster and that 400 cubic engine. Going to have to work hard to get a good ET, but remember, it's dial your own handicap style when it comes out for tomorrow. Let's see what they can do over the quarter mile in their qualifiers. It'd be great to see some good numbers coming out. I'm sure Kenny Stewart has got some go on board that books lubricants. 41 dragster and a good drive. Very, very sharp man on the line. So can Corey Dyson drill him on the start line? We're about to find out.
Okay, as Michael said, he can possibly get drilled off the line. This is a distinct possibility. All eyes will be on now as they both enter. It's the first lot of staging lights are on now. We're going to the second.
He won't get a time recorder, but Kenny Stewart, a 6.91 reaction. He was way off. He knew something was going on.
Yeah.
7.537, 284.34 kilometres per hour. As for Corey Dyson, if you move that car up Wesker, ladies and gentlemen, the thickness of a hair, the tree will pick that up and you'll get an automatic red light at the bottom of the Christmas tree and no time.
Great to have Fiona here this weekend from Kilmore, Victoria. She's coming out now in the Bullet Race Engineering lane number 1. And as we look across to our right from where we sit in the commentary tower, Derek Wills coming out from Harkaway in Victoria with his chassis with Vita Safety Eastern Product Services support. And these two guys, or guy and girl, I do beg your pardon, as they now back their cars up, will be looking to set a stellar time.
Okay, we'll give an eye to Fiona Chris. She's driving the long dragster to go back to Derek Wills, as we were saying, from Harkaway in Victoria. The shorter Alden out there, the modified Alden, both of the A range, both are running the A tells me at the beginning of their class designation out there on the drag strip. So we'll keep an eye on Derek Wills, the A modified Alden, the A modified dragger, drag, I should say, dragster from Fiona Chris. We'll get that out in 3 tries. And good to see Fiona out there once again with the pole of my dragster. Good unit too that she drives down there. It's a well-built dragster, but take nothing away from Derek Wills from Harkaway. That's a thin. Spot on. Now Derek went at 0.002 too early. 2 seconds too early at a 7.443, a quick time for Fiona Chris to a 7.62 with a 3 at 282.19 k's per hour for Derek Wills. Wow, what a great pass coming out from both of those drivers. But man, Fiona Chris, she is switched on. Absolutely. Now Simon Barlow is coming up next, and he is the reigning champion. He's got the big number 1 on the side of his car, hailing from Adelaide, South Australia. Great to have the local boy here, and he's taking on Daniel Kazana, who is known as Batdan. Now don't forget, Batdan has got some stuff down at the pits, some handouts, some track. Down there and see Batdan in the pits and get yourself some free merchandise. But right now, Batdan's got his hands full because Simon Barlow wearing the number 1. He don't want to give that up in any way, shape or form this weekend. Well, that's true, Simon, with that. So I might not about Simon Barlow, no Paris, but remember this is only qualifying, so win or lose will make no difference. But we'll keep an eye on the saying there, answer, keeping away the gear down there in the pit area here for the day. Good to hear that happen. Beautiful gesture. And we continue on with Simon Barlow out here once again for the A modified drags for the Australian champion, as you were saying. It's a lovely S&W dragster powered by a 632 cubic inch engine from Sunset Engines over in the US of A. So it has the highest quality gear on board that car down there with Simon Barlow of the dragster. And the Daniel Carranza from South Morang, the worthy dragster, 615 cubes of Chevrolet down there. Well done to him also. Rightio, both drivers now. Let's take a look what's going on down there on the racetrack. I can see Barlow is just sitting down there waiting, at the same time waiting for Carranza to come up beside him. Very sports-like contact down there on the start line out here, Paris. Great to see that coming out from Simon. Simon's got the pre-stage light on the Christmas tree. Just waiting on now for Carranza to also come in. I mean, if Barlow wanted to, he can go straight into full stage. It won't make no dramas at all now in qualifying. But I'll keep an eye on them, and they've got their own ways of staging their machines. Like to stage and get a whole shot in drag racing. Let's take a look and see what comes up for reaction. Daniel went too quick in the reaction, ran at a 0.009. 9 thousandths too early. We came back to Barlow, 6.
Also, right across drag racing, speedway, circuit racing, you name it, they do the whole lot. So great to have them on board this particular machine as they both come reversing back now, and they'll get ready for this pass coming up very, very shortly here, Michael. And this will be Glenn Henley coming in the Bullet Race Engine lane number 1, right alongside Jason Young in the Summit Racing lane 2 aboard the Pontiac Firebird. These two are looking for a dial in time of 8.5, and we'll see how close they get to the mark. This is round 2 of qualifying for Top Sportsman.
Okay, Top Sportsman's can run from 5.80 to 8.49. We'll keep an eye on these guys coming out in Top Sportsman at shortly, as you're saying. And Glenn Henley out here ready to run against Jason Young. Second qualifying session for this eliminator, ladies and gentlemen. And they're going to get another shot later on this afternoon for a third and final qualifier from our schedule as we speak at the moment. But let's keep an eye on them as they get themselves organised. Glenn Henley, he's quite a sharp operator out here, I can tell you now. And very, very light in staging. But hey, Jason Young has come a long way and he's taken a win in previous events. On the start line, we go to the clocks, 8164, 264.8 k's per hour. Good driving, Glenn, to an 8.39 at 257.49 k's per hour.
Yeah, not a lot in it, that is for sure. As we move on to our next pairing now. In the Bullet Race Engineering lane number 1, we got Vlado Churik coming out in the 2008 Pontiac GTO with a huge 582 cubic inch Chevy engine. Just have a look at that as it rumbles by. And right alongside him is Leon Davies, all the way from Port Lincoln, the fishing capital of South Australia there. That's where you get your tuna. And he's coming out in the Chevy Camaro now with a 618 Chevy cubic inch. Thanks to Custom Kitchens, EP Windscreens, Rick Daniel Recycling and MGA.
He's a guy that's really pushing the head down when it comes to the drag racing. But take nothing away from Vlado Churik. Vlado is a very hot contender in that 2008 Pontiac GTO. Good size engine. Leon's engine is bigger, but this qualifier between this pairing coming up. Let's check it out and see who's going to go quick in this particular round. Once again in Top Sportsman here this weekend. Thanks to Olympic Industries for getting these guys out onto the racetrack. We'll keep an eye on them. Rightio, Leon Davies, pre-stage, so is Churik. Churik at 168 reaction. He wasn't too quick in the reaction department, but he was quick over the quarter mile. 7.39 and 302.53 k's per hour. Leon with a 7 at 9.55 and 275.36 k's per hour. Good driving there, Leon Vlado. He was switched on by bit bad at all. See Dave Foster here on the screen doing our lane. Quite a good burnout coming out from Murray Bridge here in South Australia for that lovely 57 Chevy. 632 cubes under the hood. Valvoline and burst as we go over to the Bullet Race equipment lane.
Yeah, we got Paul Partridge coming out aboard the 82 Ford Mustang there with a 604 cubic inch SVO between the chassis rails. And that one built by BK Race Engines. So let's have a look and see how he can go. Talking about Dave Foster doing his burnout there, mate, from Murray Bridge. I reckon give him the opportunity, he would burn out from Murray Bridge to the bend, do his passing, give him the opportunity.
Give him the opportunity, most probably would, but let's keep an eye on the man once again as let's have a starter runs up to the Porter-Tree timing system and just doing a bit of a quick and fancy adjustment to the lights down there, just maybe with the sun passing through, Michael, just readjusting the lights. They're all aiming right towards the driver so they can collect it, obviously, because you know, it's pretty sharp on what they're doing out there and everything's going to be correct. Let's keep an eye on the guys.
And again, we must thank our fabulous track team here who do a tremendous job, staff and volunteers. Without them, we couldn't get this done. And these guys are all well trained and drilled. They know exactly what they're doing.
Right now, we'll keep an eye with David and Paul as we were seeing it here in the full stage on time recorded from both drivers.
Yeah.
Look at that down on the bit string down there, folks. Nothing has come up. 8.50 but nothing to do with the run, so no time was recorded. And of course, the starter. Many seconds after the run.
It was certainly a delayed time coming up, but thankfully we got it. And as Michael said, it was a 7.9 in lane 1 to a 7. I think you said 7.2 for lane 2. But more importantly, right now, let's have a look at the Bullet Race Engineering lane number 1. And that is none other than Corey Reed from Kadina, South Australia, a man who has done many forms of motorsport. Great to have him here in the drag racing. Started on the dirt ovals before transferring across to the quarter mile. And And recently, Michael, also competition motorbikes as well, doing some drag racing. But lane 2, Peter Cates from Roseworthy in South Australia, bought the Dodge Drag Pack. Now these two are both trying to get the 8.5 dial-in index. We'll see how close they get to the mark.
Let's keep an eye on, as you were saying, the Dodge Drag Pack out here with a 354 Cuba under the hood. There's a great shot on the screen now from the start line. Let's take a look at this out here. Corey Reed is pretty well switched on. Quit 8099 at 270 kilometres per hour. Peter Gates on board the Dodge Drag Pack at 845 at 263.4 miles per hour. Well done. Good racing coming out from those guys. Right, we're going to move on now to the next to Ennio Morocco from Junction Village in Victoria. 2 model Pontiac Firebird. 400 small block Chevy, looked after by Martello Automotive over there in Vic. And good to see Ennio Morocco. This name's been going for a great number of years, back from Calder Park Racing way back in the 1990s odds. Still going today. Well done to the Ennio Morocco family. Still drag racing to this day.
Absolutely. I think when it's in your blood, it's in your blood, Michael, and you keep going for as long as you can, because sadly when you retire, you're retired for a long time. So to keep it going is a fantastic effort. Big effort by all the family, and great to see him still pumping it out.
What a lovely shot on screen right now for the Pontiac Firebird. Not a bad looking car. Looks like it's flying, just sitting still right there right now.
Yeah.
At the same time, Barrett. Okay, we'll keep an eye on those guys. And out in the pit area at the same time out here, of course, Top Fuel are getting themselves organised, coming up shortly for their next round of qualifying. So Group 1 cars are getting ready out the back in the pit area, plus in the staging lanes, folks. So stick around, whatever you do, and they're coming up for their next shot shortly. There'll be a bit of a track prep of... 0-24 reaction to the Goodyear Racing finish line, 8.30.